Hey everybody, we're back.
Finally.
So why didn't we post an episode last week, Brenton?
Oh, it's a funny story about that, Cleet. So we were recording. Things were going great. Did a whole episode.
It was the best episode, though.
Was it?
It was the best one we ever did.
Knees. And, we recorded. We were excited. I even went to Facebook and I was like, guys, this is our topic for this new episode. You get all excited. And then I get a text on Saturday at 1:30 p.m.?
It was more like 7 p.m.
Okay, 7 p.m. Usually when we do our editing the day before, our master editing, before we release it, cut out all the bullshit, I got a text that said, hey, can't open the audio file. Will you try it? So I tried it, and it was completely broken.
Yeah, the file was corrupted. Such a shame, though. I mean, it was really audio gold.
It was. But hey, you know what? Maybe the universe, or the abyss, let's say the abyss was telling us that maybe we just needed to redo it. Maybe it wasn't.
It listened to us and destroyed it.
Yeah, it's like, this was shit. Maybe it wasn't good.
You piece of shit.
Maybe this is the chance to redeem ourselves after that crap we recorded. Or, we can just chalk it up to this shitty-ass year we're in right now, 2020.
It was the COVID.
The COVID. Or was it those murder hornets that never appeared?
Yeah, we skipped that for sure. So drinking a beer tonight called Tropic Thunder from Stone Brewing.
It's a lager. It's pretty delicious.
It's delicious. We are not sponsored by them because, we have 50 listeners right now. But my God, this beer is great. Hang on.
Stone, if you are out there, that was pretty good. It was a good sip. It was a hearty sip. If you're out there, Stone, if you're listening to this, I would love to be sponsored by you. Hey, we'll talk you up all day long.
I'll drink every beer you give me.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about being back. And again, guys, sincerest apologies. We hate missing weeks. Honestly, it sucks. We wanted this weekly, but with this year, and we're only halfway through it. It's, July now. So we're now halfway through the year, and I don't think it's going to get any better. I mean, what are your thoughts on this whole thing, Cleet?
I assume nuclear apocalypse will happen fairly soon.
Yeah. My favorite thing that I'm seeing on Facebook and stuff is like the, how 2012 was supposed to be the end of it?
They were saying it's
just
20...
dyslexic.
Yeah, 2021. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Maybe they were just dyslexic.
January 1st, 2021.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe Earth has just had enough of us, and we're going to do a cleansing. It's like the dinosaur thing. Meteors are just going to come down and wipe us all out. But anyway, we appreciate you guys tuning in. For our 50 listeners, you guys are really what makes us.
You're the best 50 listeners, and if you join us later, you're probably good too.
Probably. But, the first original 50, you hold a special place in the abyss with us here.
Amen.
So thank you so much.
So, topics tonight. Britain has...
Thanks for that wonderful introduction.
Thank you, yeah.
So I am going to be... So kind of a backstory. Last episode, if you listened, Cleet, you talked about your Ouija board story.
Ooh.
And I got to thinking, where did the Ouija board come from? What was the original intention? What was the first Ouija board made from? So...
Satan.
You think that. That's what it is now.
Well, yeah, say my topic, though.
Oh, what is your topic? Satan? Is Satan your topic?
Demonic possession.
Oh, shit. So those go hand in hand. Ouija boards and demonic possession.
Yeah. It's just a means to an end.
Well, hey, I think it's a pretty good episode here. So, without further ado, should we go ahead and kick this thing off, buddy?
Buckle up and let's figure out who made the Ouija board. Spoiler alert, Satan.
Satan! I wish it was Satan. All right. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into this. So, where did the Ouija board come from, and what was it originally used for? Spoiler alert, it wasn't made with malicious intent.
I thought it was made by Hasbro.
It wasn't made by Hasbro. They have the rights now, but...
Do you think if you make a Ouija board, they'll sue you and start selling it?
Well, I mean, you couldn't call it a Ouija board. You could make, the Ouija board, too.
Yeah, I could go Cletus's spooky board teller.
Board teller. Yeah, I like that. Cletus's. Not just Cleet. It's Cletus's.
Right from the south.
Cletus from the south.
To your house.
So we're going to jump back in time, guys. We're going all the way back to February 1891. Can you believe that's when it was invented?
I feel like it would have been older. It seems like it has this mystique of coming from the Middle Age times.
Right. Now, here's the thing, though.
Medieval times.
When we talked about UFOs, this is all the way back in Egypt that they saw UFOs. So there may have been a mystical board back then But 1891, papers boasted advertisements for Ouija, the wonderful talking board. Would you ever describe Ouija like that today, Cleet? The wonderful talking board?
Probably not. I mean, I think there's a lot of negative connotation to it.
Right. Which is why I want to talk about it, because I want to know where that came from. So the advertisement came from a toy and novelty shop in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The ads went on to tell that the board was a magical device that answered your questions about the past, present, and future with, and I quote, marvelous accuracy.
I gotta say something real quick, okay? So, like, how does an entrepreneur come up with that? They're like, I want to get rich. So I got this board with the alphabet and a planchette, and I'm going to tell people that it'll move on its own. Like, that seems like a crazy idea at the time.
It is a crazy idea. And don't forget the numbers. It had numbers on there as well. But I'm glad you asked, because there is a topic on that. So the ad promised never failing amusement and recreation for all the classes, and that it was a link between the known and unknown, material and immaterial. A New York ad described it as interesting and mysterious. Now, the cost of this board at the time was a whopping $1.50.
That's not bad, but I don't know what that is with inflation. That could be like, you said it was 1891?
1891.
That might be like $50. I don't know.
It could be around $50. I mean, and back then it might have been, a lot of money, so maybe only the wealthy families had it. I don't know. But again, it boasted like this fun, mystical board, right? So Ouija was created to be fun. Now, the appearance hasn't changed much, as the mysterious talking board back then was a flat board with the alphabet set in two semicircles above the numbers 0 through 9. The top corners housed the words yes and no, and at the bottom it said goodbye.
If you don't say goodbye, you'll die.
I like, okay, Dr. Seuss. I mean, hey, if you don't tell it to leave, it's going to hang out.
Haven't you heard that, though? Like, you've always heard in the Ouija board stories when, like, you're playing with the Ouija board, if you don't say goodbye, that spirit will haunt you forever.
Yeah, but I like the way you said it more. If you don't say goodbye,
you die.
I like that. That's pretty good. In fact, we should send that to Ouija. Be like, put that on the box. That'd be a good selling point.
Just has, like, a bunch of warning signs and, like, the instructions.
Warning, you don't say goodbye, you die. Literally.
Hang on, I'm kind of curious. So, when it comes to board games, and maybe someone can put this in the comments on YouTube, what recommended age do they have on there to use a Ouija board?
Are you talking today or back then?
No, right now. Like, because imagine, like, isn't every board game, like, isn't there a recommended age? I don't know if there is.
Well, I mean, okay, so it usually comes with, if the ages I would imagine is one like adult content, like Cards Against Humanity. You're not going to have a 9-year-old playing it, right? Or maybe you would. I played at 9 years old. But it's also maybe choking pieces, like a choking hazard.
Like,
so you have a board and a planchette. So I don't see an age restriction on this thing.
I would love to have it say 4 and up.
4 and up. If you're 3 and under, you're shit out of luck. But if you're at least 4, dude,
you're ready for the Ouija
people.
board.
That's the rite of passage to board games. Neighborhood kids like, do you want to come play Monopoly? No, fuck that. I got a Ouija board. Let's do this.
I turned 4.
Happy birthday, Jimmy. You're 4 years old. Open your present. Oh my God, it's a Ouija board. Can you imagine? So it also came with a teardrop-shaped planchette that had the small glass window set in the body. The idea was simple. You gather around the board, you put your fingers on the planchette, and you ask it all the questions that you ever wanted to know, or even secretly, maybe the ones you didn't want to know.
If you had a Ouija board that was guaranteed to work, what question would you ask it?
That's a good question. I think the first thing would be selfish. Would I ever hit pay dirt? Would I ever be wealthy?
How can I get wealthy?
How? There you go. It's more of an open-ended question.
El Chapo.
Just says meth. Like you have to get into the drug game or something.
I was trying to be subtle.
Damn it.
Give me a sec.
And Cleet's choking on the Tropic Thunder Lager. After you asked your question that you wanted to know, you would watch as the planchette moved itself, or seemingly moved itself, that is, across the board, spelling out the answers. So it started out pretty simple and fun, not used as an evil source or anything like that. The difference in today's Ouija boards is that they are mostly printed on cardboard like your typical board game, rather than an actual piece of wood.
Can I just be honest real quick?
Please do.
I hate the Ouija board made by Hasbro. Don't sue us.
Which one? There's been several.
I bought one when I was 20, and it was glow in the dark, but it was like this cardboard set, and it just looked looked tacky.
It was pretty.
No, dude, it sucked.
It was
like
glow in the dark.
It was not scary at all. Like if I made a Ouija board today, I'd make it look so scary.
Right.
Like you'd want to make it out like you would want to make it look like the board was like made 200 years ago, right?
Right. Like, can you imagine like out of some like rough cut like oak tree, and it's like this big thick piece of wood with like burned etchings?
It's all about presentation,
I
right? And that
agree.
sets the ambiance.
I agree, but when you have glow in the dark and glitter all over the fucking thing, I don't think it's gonna work. It just kind of made me upset. I had that same one. We'll talk about that in a second. But speaking of which, I was on because I was curious before I came over. I really want to get like a legit first like edition Ouija board. I found it on eBay. Shit, it's going for $500. So
First edition, is it different from the
it's
other
like
one?
the solid piece of wood, like the original. We'll talk about who owned it back then, but it's like the original like creators wooden Ouija board. So I mean, it's out there, and it'd be cool to have one. Okay, so I want to go ahead and jump back, though, to the advertising piece because it was called Interesting and Mysterious, and believe it or not, the patent office actually labeled it as proven to work and was allowed to proceed with sales. In today's day and age, some psychologists believe that it is a link connecting the known and unknown. Now, I know several people that believe in the dark magic of the Ouija board and still refuse to use it today. I remember growing up, and I asked my mom several times, can I get a Ouija board? And she always said no, every time.
That's so funny. I remember like this vague memory of me being like 14 in Toys R Us. You're like running around the halls, and you go to the board games, and you see the Ouija board, and you've heard what it is from your friends. So you ask your mom, and they're like, no.
Don't you want this like Buzz Lightyear replica over here or something?
Hey, there's this Spanish-speaking lady named Dora the Explorer. Why don't you get that?
It's a lot more intuitive there. But Mom, there's a Spanish-speaking Ouija board if you want me to learn Spanish. So we're going to do some time traveling. I'll try and keep you guys current. So we're going to jump to way fast forward to the year of 1992. There's a man by the name of Robert Murch. And he is what is known as a Ouija historian who began his research again in 1992. I was just barely born into this world. I was 1 year old.
Can I just say something, dude? With someone with the last name Murch, I feel like they're a sellout.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Merchandise.
They're like, yeah, I got some merch for you.
Robert Murch, M-U-R-C-H. So, and he's a Ouija historian, so he's dedicated his life to researching this, and I pulled a lot of his research. So, in his findings, he quoted, and I quote, "For such an iconic thing that strikes both fear and wonder in American culture, how can no one know where it came from?" Which I completely agree, because before I started this, I had no idea where it came from. I just knew that this thing was creepy. So I want to go back and kind of talk about it. We're jumping way back to the 19th century there. So going back, the Ouija board did in fact start with the American 19th century obsession with spiritualism, which is the belief that the deceased are able to communicate with the living.
That was a big movement, I don't want to bring up Houdini, but that guy would always disprove all these spiritualist fraudsters all the time. Nobody knows that. Everyone knows Houdini was like an escape artist, but that guy caught so much fraud in his time.
He's like, bullshit. And Houdini's name did come up a couple times in the research here, too.
Just FYI, he died by someone punching him in the stomach. It's hilarious. It was an act he had while he was on the stage, and someone literally just came up to him while he was walking down the street when he wasn't ready for it. He was like, Houdini! And he punched him in the chest, and he died.
That's how Houdini died?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure his appendix burst. I could be wrong. I should do the research. If I'm wrong, don't freaking destroy me in the comments.
Was it Bruce Lee that hit him? Jesus Christ, burst his appendix with a punch?
I like how you said Bruce Lee's better than Jackie Chan.
Oh, man, those fighting words. Yeah, so again, like you said, Cleet, spiritualism back at that time was such a big thing. Now, it had been in Europe for years at this point, but hit America especially hard in the year 1848 when the Fox sisters, who were residing in New York, claimed to have received messages from spirits who rapped on the walls in answers to questions they had. Now, there is a lot of information on these Fox sisters. I'm not going to cover them here. I'm going to do a separate episode there because their story is incredible. But they were a huge thing in 1848, and they had a lot to say. So, spiritualism reached its peak with millions of adherents during the second half of the 19th century. Americans would hold seances during weekends where they would contact spirits or have what is called table-turning parties. You heard of that, Cleet?
Yeah, it's when a bunch of people get in a room and a DJ comes in, plays some music, and they dance, right?
No! I mean, maybe. I don't know.
No.
These table turning parties, it's kind of the same thing as a Ouija board, but guests would all place their hands on a table and watch as it began to rattle and shake while no one fessed up to doing it. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. So you would just literally gather around a table, you'd put your hands on, and it would start to rattle and shake, and it was like, oh, I swear to God, I didn't do it, which is kind of how I feel the Ouija board works. Now, at this time, the average lifespan was less than 50 years. As women died during childbirth, it was pretty common. Children passed away from disease, and men died during the wartime. Because of the constant death, seances became a normal practice as people wanted to reach out and speak to the deceased. Now, imagine, your loved one goes off to war, and a lot of times they didn't hear back. They didn't know if they were dead or alive, so this prompted them to go grab this magical speaking board that you can talk to them. They'd go and buy this thing, and they'd try and reach out, and sometimes they'd be like, I heard back from them, I know they're dead, and sometimes they didn't hear back, which gave them hope to being alive. But can you imagine relying on a board to reach out and see if your loved one was still alive or not?
Well, just think about it, right? Because So before the board was around, they had things called mediums, right?
Exactly.
So people that would tell you what the dead said, but they charged you a bejesus.
They would charge you like your left testicle.
Yeah, they would charge you a lot of money. But now this board would charge you $1.50. Think of the selling point. You could get a medium, or I could give you this board for $1.50, and it'll tell you the same thing.
Exactly, or more. And you can use it whenever you want. One-time purchase, $1.50. You have a lifetime event of talking to the deceased.
That's a hell of an investment. That's a good selling point.
Exactly. So, fun fact, Mary Todd Lincoln, wife of Abraham, even conducted seances after their 11-year-old son passed away of a fever in 1862. Imagine going to Abraham Lincoln's house for a seance.
That would be pretty cool.
Okay, so now we're jumping back to good old Murch. He went on to explain that communicating with the dead was common. It wasn't seen as bizarre or weird. It's hard to imagine that now. We look at that and think, why are you opening the gates of hell? Ouija boards today are seen as mostly evil conduits to open the portals to the unknown, but that wasn't the original intent when Kennedy Novelty Company produced the Ouija board. As most companies, they were just trying to make money. So, the original question, right, was it Hasbro? No, it was the Kennard Novelty Company. So, spiritualism, although very popular, was also very frustrating as it took a very long time to get responses from the deceased. I mean, how dare you die and take forever to respond? That's just inconsiderate.
Why was it inefficient?
Well, I'll tell you, Cleet. Some practices, such as calling out the whole alphabet and waiting for a knock when the appropriate letter was spoken, was dull and boring. So, people would gather around their living room and they'd go, "Tell me, are you dead? A, B, C," and when you get to Y, they do a knock.
You know, every good innovation requires efficiency. So I'm kind of seeing why the people made the board. That makes sense.
Exactly. So in comes the Kennard Novelty Company to fix that problem. In the year 1890, Charles Kennard from Baltimore pulled together a group of 4 other investors, which included Elijah Bond, an attorney, and Colonel Washington Bowie, who was a surveyor. They started the Kennard Novelty Company to make and market these new talking boards known as the Ouija board. None of these men were spiritualists, but rather smart businessmen who capitalized on a niche. So, just like you were asking, right? Why would they just make this talking board? Well, people were complaining it took so long, and like, you know what? How about we make it easier? How about we make it quicker? And how about we do it guaranteed?
Cut out the middleman.
Cut out those mediums. You don't need them. Here, buy my board.
Medium and middleman. It makes sense.
When it came to naming the board, popular belief states that it's a combination of the French word oui and German word ja, both meaning yes. How it actually came to get its name was when Bond, the investors, and Bond's sister Helen Peters were sitting around the table using the board one night. They simply asked the board what it wanted to be named, and it spelled out, you guessed it, Ouija. Their next question asked what that meant exactly, to which the board replied, good luck.
I feel like one of them was French and one of them was German. And they were like, oh, this is a French word. No. I'm going to make this a German word after this.
So it's yes, yes.
And specifically, I can never spell Ouija. It's so counterintuitive. I've struggled with this throughout my life.
Ouija. It's pretty interesting. But, I think it's funny because when I read that it said good luck, that movie with Liam Neeson popped in my head, Taken, when he calls and he's like, "Where's my daughter?" And they say, "Good luck," or "I'm going to find you." It popped in my head. I think it's pretty funny. Now, jumping back to the patent itself, I know we've kind of talked about it. This story is true and very crazy. So if they couldn't prove that the board actually worked, then they would not get their patent. Simple as that. Bond brought his sister Helen along to the chief patent officer's office to provide a demonstration. His request was simple. If the board could spell out the investor's name, which was unknown to them at the time, then he would pass it off for the patent. They sat down, placed their hands on the planchette, and asked for the officer's name. And you guessed it, they watched as the planchette spelled out the officer's name in full. That day, on February 10th, 1891, the patent officer awarded the patent to the Ouija board.
I guess they answered his question.
That's it. What's my name?
And it answered from the abyss.
With the first patent approved, now comes time to sell the damn thing. The patent didn't explain at all how the board actually worked, just that it did. The mysteriousness was a great marketing technique as people were eager to buy it and test it out themselves. Through Murch's research, he went on to say, ultimately, it was a moneymaker. They didn't care why people thought it worked. I mean, can you imagine having a product and saying, "Dude, this thing works," and people bought it, and you're like, "I don't care how it works, it just does."
It's like the shake weight.
Hey, the shake weight works, man.
Oh, it does.
It looks ridiculous. I mean, look at my biceps. Now, because of the success, by 1892, the Kennard Novelty Company expanded from a single factory in Baltimore to having 2 factories in Baltimore, 2 factories in New York, and even one in London. Now, by 1893, Kennard and Bond left the company due to internal pressures revolving around that good old saying that money changes everything.
Could you imagine, though, like, someone's like, "Hey, what do you do?" And you're like, "I make Ouija boards in a giant factory."
You know that magical talking board? Yeah. I made that.
Fucking make it.
So the original 2 investors, they just bailed. They were done. They were making money. They were fighting, so they left. Ownership at that point changed to a man by the name of William Fuld, who started as an investor and ground floor employee. So this guy started on the ground floor, basic investor, and now he owns the goddamn company. So crazy fact about Fuld, he died after a freak accident in the year 1927 when he fell from the roof of a new factory that he claimed the Ouija board told him to build.
Maybe the Ouija board told them to jump.
It's like, build this factory, and then, splat.
No, maybe he was just on the roof, and he had the planchette, and he's like, "Should I jump off this?" And it went to yes.
No, I don't know. That's pretty dark, man. Can you imagine, why are you building this factory? The board told me to do it. Okay, go ahead and build it. What the fuck did you do on the roof? I don't know. Now, he never took credit for inventing the Ouija board, obviously because he didn't, even though the New York Times declared him as the inventor. Now, in 1898, Colonel Bowie gave his approval to the majority of the shareholder and one of only 2 remaining investors. He licensed the exclusive rights for production of the board. In 1919, Bowie sold the rights to Fuld for a whole $1.
Wow.
$1. So almost the price of a Ouija board itself. The whole company now belongs to Fuld.
Wow.
Now, more than 120 years later, the Ouija board is still around and used. Its success came from its interesting trademark as it boasted to be a mystical oracle and family entertainment product all in one. It was fun with otherworldly aspects.
Ooh.
Now, it wasn't just spiritualists who purchased the Ouija board, and fun fact, those who hated the board more than anyone were the mediums as they felt they were cut out of their jobs.
Ha! Cut the middleman.
Right? Just like you were saying. I mean, like you said, these mediums, their job is to reach out to otherworldly presence for these people. Now, if you can buy a board and do it, why would you go to mediums anymore?
They're all charlatans, if you ask me.
Well, I don't think anyone asked you, Cleet.
Fair.
Now, in 1944, during the Great Depression, the Fuld Company had to open a new factory to meet the crazy high demands for the Ouija board, as one single New York store sold 50,000 of them during a 5-month period.
Damn.
In 1967, when Parker Brothers bought the board from Fuld, 2 million boards were sold, outselling Monopoly.
So, wow. I want to know who was like, "Hey, we make Monopoly, but now let's buy these Ouija board rights."
Yeah.
They were right.
Can you imagine a time when a Ouija board is outselling Monopoly? I mean, think of all the variations of Monopoly now. It's everywhere. I fucking hate that game because it makes me feel poor.
That ruined families.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I hated playing that game. I think my wife hated playing it more because there was a good portion of we bought like the Nightmare Before Christmas one, and I won like every time. She beat me once, and she never lets it down. So they're outselling Monopoly. It's crazy. It's insane. So almost every household now has these Ouija boards. This is when some pretty strange stories started to emerge because 2 million boards are sold. So almost everyone, I mean, a lot of people have them. So you're bound to get some crazy stories. Now, in 1920, crime solvers were using the Ouija board for clues in the mysterious murder of Joseph Burton Elwell, who was a New York City gambler. The police were extremely frustrated by this, of course, as no real investigative work was being done. Can you imagine being a policeman and stumbling across a murder and busting out the Ouija board to find out who did it?
I've heard about police like using psychics. They still do that like in like rural places, I assume.
It's like, do you want to bust out the fingerprint? No. Get the Ouija board out. Light some candles.
Get the Ouija. We're going to solve this tonight.
It's going to be done. We're going to find out exactly who did it. Who done it?
Yeehaw!
B-O-B. It was Bob.
Get Cletus. He'll solve this.
So this one's kind of interesting. A year later, in 1921, an article in the New York Times reported of a woman being admitted to a psych ward. She would tell doctors that she wasn't suffering from mania as they claimed, but instead, the spirits in her Ouija board had told her to leave her mother's dead body in the living room for a whole 15 days before she buried her in the backyard.
If I had that planchette, yeah, it's moving, but why don't you move it to no? Like, fuck you. Like, no.
You take control.
Like, why do they have the authority to tell her that? What do they have on her?
You make your own outcome. But can you imagine, like, your mom dies in the living room, and the board tells you, like, no, let her stew for 15 days.
I would personally move the planchette to F, and then you.
And that's all you need to do. I mean, number one, the smell would be awful. Your mom's body in the, living room for 15 days. And then burying her in the backyard. I don't understand it. Why not? In 1930, 2 women in Buffalo, New York murdered another woman, stating that the Ouija board told them to do so.
Yeah.
Go kill this lady.
But that's like just the defense, Like if people believe the Ouija board like commands people, that's crazy.
Why'd you do it? Well, the Ouija board told me to.
Satan made me do it.
Innocent. In 1958, this one's hilarious. Mrs. Helen Dow Peck left behind a Ouija board will that left only $1,000 to 2 of her former servants, but left an insane amount totaling $152,000 to a Mr. John Gale Forbes. Forbes happened to be a bodiless spirit who reached out to her via the Ouija board. Obviously, the Connecticut court decided not to honor such a will.
It's too bad for John Gale, was it? John Gale?
John Gale Forbes.
It's
the name Forbes. Like Forbes magazine.
Maybe that's where they got their money.
Maybe that's where it's John Gale Forbes. It started with It started with $152,000. Okay, so if you're wondering when the Ouija board took such a dark turn and became one of the most feared objects in history, we're going to talk about that now. But Cleet, I have a question for you. So it started in the year 1973, which is when the Ouija board took a crazy dark turn. Do you know what happened in that year? What was released?
Helter Skelter.
Was it really?
No,
I don't know. I mean,
The Exorcist.
How'd you know?
Because that's a cult classic.
Cult classic, but you're correct. So in this year, the movie The Exorcist appeared in theaters. Now, if you don't know the story of The Exorcist, I would say spoiler warning, but if you haven't seen it now, I don't think you're planning on seeing it. If you haven't and you don't want spoilers, pause it now, go watch it, then listen to the rest of the episode.
The child gets possessed.
Hey, don't steal my thunder, fucker. But Cleet, you're correct. So, in the film, the 12-year-old Regan plays with a Ouija board and becomes possessed by a demon. The movie did amazingly well in the box office, so a lot of people watched it, which changed the whole perspective of Ouija boards. So one movie came around, and up until this time, again, this is back in the 1800s when this thing was invented, and then in 1973, this movie comes out and changes everyone's perspective on the Ouija board. Which is funny because if you go back to 1951, the Ouija board even made an appearance in the show I Love Lucy, when Lucy and Ethel hosted a seance using the board.
Could you imagine if it ended up in kid shows back then? It's like Barney and he's using the Ouija board. He's like, I love Satan.
I think I'd like Barney more if that was them. Or like Blue's Clues. Blue's Clues uses the Ouija board. I think it's amazing. So the success of The Exorcist and the newfound terror of the Ouija board caused it to appear in several scary movies even today, with some movies even being called Ouija or Ouija, Origin of Evil, which is actually not a bad movie. It's seen as a portal to hell, often seeing demons unleashed and hell-bent on murder. Shortly after, the Ouija board was denounced by several religious groups as it was seen as Satan's preferred method of communication. Now, in Alamogordo, New Mexico, in the year 2001, the board was burned on bonfires with copies of Harry Potter and Disney's Snow White. I don't know why those two were included.
I could see Harry Potter because it's like, magic. But what the fuck is up with Snow White? I guess there's like a witch in it that makes her sleep.
Or a man that... No, that's Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah. What's Snow White?
Edit that out. Snow White is the seven dwarfs and the witch with the poison apple.
Maybe the church hated small people.
Maybe. I don't know. It's interesting.
Move on.
All right, so we're jumping back to Murch. I know a lot of time travel back and forth, but during the time when Murch was speaking at paranormal conventions, he was told on several occasions to leave his collection of boards at home as they frightened a lot of people and they didn't want to be around him. In 1991, my birth year, when Hasbro acquired Parker Brothers, hundreds of thousands of boards were still being sold. However, the reason as to why people were buying them were completely different. Rather than a fun night with the family, they were being purchased with sinister intentions.
Creepy.
I just imagine, early 1900s, guys, let's order some food, let's bust out the Ouija board, and let's talk to some people.
Let's get the Puff Cheetos. It's going to be a good night.
Dude, Cheetos Puffs are legit.
They're so good.
Ouija boards have become more popular in today's day and age, showing up in movies and television shows along with merchandise and clothing items like matching bra and underwear. If you have the desire to speak to the dead anywhere but don't have a board, don't worry. There are several apps that you can download and have your very own virtual Ouija board. There's an app for that, bro. Now, Hasbro released several versions, including the famous Cleet's favorite, Glow in the Dark, which I had along with a mystical version.
Boo.
I had that same Glow in the Dark one, dude. It was bullshit. So, Hasbro released the rights to make a classic version, which I'm assuming is the actual board rather than cardboard, to another company. So another company other than Hasbro has the rights to make the classic version, which
That's
I think we should track
cool.
down. Yeah.
We should get one. We'll do it on here.
I want to do an episode where we talk to...
I will taunt it so hard.
I know you will. Just like that weird, phone number we called that never responded. Did they ever text you back, by the way?
Nope. But we did get a subscriber for a day. Like right after we posted it, we got a sub on YouTube, and it unsubbed, literally the next day.
I think that they were like, okay, but then I don't want to listen to you anymore, so I'm going to unsubscribe. That's pretty great.
Fair enough.
The question remains, how exactly does the Ouija board work? Several studies and tests have been performed to test exactly how it works, and despite the thought of it being controlled by demons or spirits, it's actually more scientific than that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, this is all alleged. This is where the ideometer effect comes in. In 1852, William Benjamin Carpenter, who was a physician and physiologist, published a report that discussed this effect. The ideometer effect is the automatic muscular movements that occur without the conscious will or volition of the individual. One example is crying during a sad part in a movie, like that goddamn Marley and Me. Worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Dog dies at the end.
Spoiler alert. So even though most people absolutely swear that they didn't in fact move the planchette, the ideometer effect might state otherwise. When you have several people gathered around the board, so focused on not moving the planchette and asking questions, the ideometer effect can happen to any one of them without their knowledge, making them think there is an otherworldly presence involved. But then again, it might just be the demon. I don't know. Depends on what you believe.
Yeah. Could be Jesus.
So, guys, that is a shortened version in history of the Ouija board. But I do want to talk about a couple stories that I did stumble across online. But I wanted to share my story first because I told you guys I'd share it last time. So I did, in fact, have the same glow-in-the-dark Ouija board that Cleet did. I bought it at Target. I remember my buddy and I in high school were like, we want to play this Ouija board. We're going to go do it. We're going to go buy one. And we were online. We saw Target was selling it. It was a glow-in-the-dark one. I'm like, I don't want a glow-in-the-dark one, but other than forking over several $100s, it's our only option. So we went to Target, picked it up, went to his house, and me and him were so hell-bent on making it work that we told each other, we said, look, no matter what happens, even if it doesn't work, we're not going to move it. I'm not going to move it. You're not going to move it. We swore. And I trusted him. I still do. We're not going to make it move. Right? So We even like went all legit. We looked online, like we turned all the lights off. We had some candles. We did the whole candle circle thing.
Ambiance.
Very romantic. So we had the whole works, right? And again, we were like, we're going to do this. So I don't remember the exact questions that we asked it, but we probably spent like 2 or 3 hours. Nothing happened. Didn't move. We just sat there like, this is bullshit. And same thing, that glow in the dark one. We even charged it all day, so it actually glue in the dark.
Did you taunt it?
Yeah. Eventually I got to the point I'm like, you're a piece of shit. You're not real. There's no way. Come on, if you're a little pussy, do it. Come on. I mean, it was so... We taunted it. Nothing happened.
I'd be like, F you. How do you feel about that?
How do you feel about it? But it was funny because, again, at this time I was living with my grandparents, and I'd asked my grandma if I could have it in the house, and she said no. And she told me her personal story about it, and she was saying that like her and a couple of her friends got together and they were using the Ouija board in their room. And I guess same thing, like nothing had happened, and they went to put it away, and suddenly the Ouija board like flew across the room and smashed into the wall. So, I mean, she was like scared to death of it. She's like, it absolutely works. It's legit. So it's just kind of funny. You ask people, and some people have personal stories about it. But I personally didn't have anything. I know you said that yours didn't quite work out either.
Well, it was moving, but everyone got scared because of shadows, and they ran away.
And you're like, I'm not leaving my Ouija board up here. I bought this shit.
$20.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I mean, it's like $1.50 back in the day.
When I was 20, $20 was a lot.
$1 for every year we're alive, man. So there's a couple stories I wanted to share that I found online. They're kind of interesting. One of the stories talks about a family that, was a mother and her 2 daughters. They had just moved to a new house, were still settling in and unboxing. The daughters had convinced the mom to let them all play with their old Ouija board, because that's just something they do. Mom, you have the old Ouija board, let's bust it out. The mother agreed, and shortly after using it, a box of books flew across the room, smashing into the wall. Next, the fire in the fireplace went out suddenly, and the air grew ice cold. They left to sleep at their grandmother's house.
Apparently, you didn't like books.
No, it was illiterate.
Or maybe it was part of the book burning generation.
Maybe it was a box of Harry Potter books.
Ooh.
And they wanted to throw it into the fire.
That is the devil.
Another story talks about a kid at summer camp. Him and his buddies decided to make their own Ouija board on a sheet of paper. Shortly after using it, they heard a series of frantic knocks coming from inside a closed locker. Like, hey, we didn't bring a Ouija board. You got a paper, a pen, marker maybe? Let's just make our own. But what do they use as a planchette? That's my question.
Yeah, that's a good question. Good thought.
I don't know who to reach out to for that. The last story is about a house fire that broke out in a basement. They had a big collection of board games, including the old Ouija board. Every game was burned except for
the Ouija board.
The box and board were not even singed. That's just Satan saying, you don't get to play any other board games. You play with my talking board, and that's it.
I mean, it literally made a monopoly out of the Ouija board.
Look at you, Cleet, you sly dog. Anyways, guys, that is a brief study of the Ouija board. It's a lot of interesting facts. If you want to know more about what Murch did, you can look on his. You can look online and find a lot of his case studies. But that's basically it. So basically, we have the exorcism to blame for the fact that the Ouija board is now an evil piece of shit.
Well, that's a perfect transition statement to demonic possession.
I'm excited about this one.
So just so you guys know, and any demons in this house, we are perfectly willing vessels to be possessed.
Oh, shit, I don't remember signing up for this.
Yep, me and Britton are ready to be possessed.
You know what? In the name of this podcast, why the fuck not? Let's do it. I will do it for our listeners, our active 50 or plus listeners. Let's do it. Why not?
We'll see what happens. This might be the last podcast we have. So, I have 3 stories for you tonight about demonic possession. Let's start with case number 1. This story is about Clara Germana Sio. She was from South Africa. She was an orphan who grew up very religious. She was baptized Catholic at 8 years old, and she was attending a school called St. Michael's Mission. For some reason, Clara wanted to make a pact with the devil, and people surmise that this was the catalyst of her ultimate possession.
For some reason, she just decided, you know what I want to do today? That devil guy. I want to make a pact with him.
I mean, I'm just saying, I had my angsty teenage years where I was making weird decisions.
You were explorative.
Yeah, maybe she was just a little angsty teenager.
But did you ever wake up and go, you know what? For some reason today, I'm just going to go and make a pact with that devil guy.
Maybe she's like, you know what? Satan got a bad rap.
I want to see what this is about.
I like this
Okay,
guy.
I like that. I like that twist. Let's see what happens to little, what's her name?
Clara.
Let's hear what happens to little Clara here.
So, after this supposed pact, one of the nuns at St. Michael's Mission started to notice that Clara showed some weird signs that indicated possible possession. She started showing at the age of 16 that she had clairvoyant skills. She could reveal personal secrets about her classmates, teachers, or even people she never met before. So, imagine, you're in a classroom, and, someone comes in, they're talking about, their career, and they're like, hey, this is what I do. And she's like, you did accounting fraud. And he's like, oh, shit, no, I didn't. What are you talking about? I gotta go.
I think this story is kind of funny because, obviously, I like the whole, for some reason, but then, the teacher notices something wrong, and the first thing he suspects is possession.
Well, I mean, so the school is run by nuns, right?
Okay,
so,
that's a good point.
they're specifically very religious, so it would make sense. That's kind of where she goes.
Okay, so I redact my statement. I guess it makes sense. But in hindsight, it's kind of funny. Instead of, maybe something's happening at home, it's like, this is possession!
She started speaking in tongues. Which is
Oh.
interesting. Where you just start babbling, but I guess it's in a different language. And the nuns recognized some of the languages she was using. And these were languages she never had exposure to. For example, some of the languages were Polish, German, and many other languages, like Latin.
Have you heard German, really quick, angry German?
Yeah,
It's intense.
Have you ever heard German that's, slow and not angry?
Have you heard German, period?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you could edit that out.
So
I like my statement.
That's
but,
so
you just went fucked up.
Slow
with it.
and not angry.
Have you heard just regular old German? Fucking hell.
So I remember a story when I would go to church as a young kid, and they were talking about there was a missionary comes home and he talks to the people in that church, and he told a story that he and his partner went to another religious event, another church from that wasn't Mormon, and
His partner or his
companion is what they called it.
Companions.
Companion, right? They're like agents, kind of. So they were at this religious event, and they would like to have people go up there and just start speaking in tongues. They would encourage that you just babble, I don't know, it's weird. And
Just go up there and start speaking in tongues and babbling.
there's still churches that do that. Literally, they just go up there and start speaking gibberish, right? So
I don't think it would be classified as gibberish. It's a language.
well, no, most of these people aren't speaking languages.
Oh, so
They're just
go up and-
crazy.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, I'm not saying they're
Fair enough.
crazy, but
fair enough.
someone goes up to, the pew and they start speaking in tongues, but their companion recognized this language, right? And he was saying that they were saying satanic shit. They were like,
man.
hey, this person's saying, I am the devil. It was really weird stuff.
He looks over. He's like, "Can you catch what this fucker?"
Well, he was saying his companion went pure white. They left and he explained the situation.
He's like, he was saying some demonic stuff, man.
Maybe they were possessed. So, anyways, back over to Clara here. She showed an aversion to holy objects like crucifixes, holy water, and the holy fucking Bible.
I haven't actually come across that version. I've seen the Holy Bible, but I haven't seen the Holy fucking Bible. That's on a whole other level entirely.
Yeah, it's like the Bible, but being read by Samuel L. Jackson.
I'd listen to that. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. She quickly began her descent into madness, started babbling, getting aggressive, pushing her classmates. They had to start an exorcism. The nun describes her as having super strength, being able to break her restraints, to push people that are trying to hold her down.
Okay, I think I'm interpreting this story. I think from a 30,000 foot view because she's pushing these kids and the nun's like, we need to perform an exorcism. It's so I think they're just jumping to, but obviously it's a school for nuns and stuff, so I think that it makes sense. But from a
Sometimes-
30,000 view, it's pretty hilarious.
She graduated from pushing classmates to pushing priests. During the exorcism, the nuns described her screams as this. No animal had ever made the sounds that she made. Neither the lions of East Africa nor the angry bulls. At times, it sounded like a veritable herd of wild beasts, orchestrated by Satan, and had formed a hellish choir.
Hellish choir? I think that's the best thing I've heard all fucking year.
I don't even know what a hellish choir would sound like. I would imagine
it sounds like Clara.
It's like deep voices just going, oh. I don't know. It's weird.
Oh, that just made my whole fucking night.
During this exorcism, it is said that she levitated 5 feet in the air, both vertically and horizontally, so she was moving above the bed. At one point, she was able to break from her restraints and choked a priest with his own stole. Like, I don't want to say that's badass. That is kind of badass.
Yeah, and the stole, I mean, imagine that's that draping thing that... Okay.
It's like that purple thing that goes over their neck. She just grabbed both of them and just went...
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Good for you, Clara. Or the demon who's in Clara.
Yeah, you put up a fight, but you lost because the exorcism ended with the priest sprinkling The exorcism ended with the priest sprinkling God damn it!
He's on standby.
Going Australian again. The exorcism ended with the priest sprinkling holy water on her face, breaking out of her demonic trance. While most psychologists would make fun of this, or any non-believers, one fact that makes her case compelling, she never relapsed into mental illness or any other thing, suggesting that this could have been a true case of demonic possession.
So she was successfully exorcised.
Yeah. All right, so this is cool. You know, it happened a while ago. You know, maybe it was all just fraud. I don't know how times were back then. But let's jump to a more recent case of possession.
Let's.
This person is known as Julia. Julia, one day, goes to her priest and claims she is possessed. Her priest, being a man of faith, but also science, refers her to a psychiatrist named Dr. Richard Gallagher. I love that last name, Gallagher. I don't know why.
That's a strong name.
It's
Gallagher.
Like, my last name's fucking Gallagher. Like, I like
Well, it would be just Gallagher. Like, I don't know what it's the Holy
fucking Bible. All right.
Fucking Gallagher.
Gallagher studied psychiatry at Princeton and Yale, those both being obviously Ivy League schools. He was also on the faculty of Columbia University and New York Medical College.
My God, what does this guy do for fun?
No, this guy had pretty impressive credentials, and it really leads a really important question, Britton.
Yeah, let's hear it.
What the fuck have you done with your life?
Nothing. Compared to this guy, I've done nothing. I mean, here's the thing. I graduated high school. That's about it. Literally though, but he's so decorated with what he does. What does he do? Like,
how many hats does he have?
You said Princeton and Yale, right?
Yeah.
And then he's on the Vatican, Demon Slayers Club?
Did you just read my script?
No,
you son of a bitch.
Okay, whatever.
So, he is also part of the International Association of Exorcists in Italy.
I knew it.
He is a special case on that board because he's the only psychiatrist.
Oh. So, he is a very, very sought-after man.
Yeah. Very impressive. Very diverse.
He makes me feel small. I've done nothing. And thanks for that question, Cleet, you dick. What have you done with your life, bro?
We're about the same. He talks about Julia's case being one of the creepiest but most astounding case he's ever worked on in 25 years as a consultant for the network of exorcists across the country.
Jesus, I feel like that's every scary movie trailer.
There's
one case that just sticks with
He's like the pro, right? He's coming in there like, yeah, this is my 1,000th exorcism.
Out of all my cases,
this was the one.
One has stuck with me.
So in his career, he had thousands of people referred to him who were diagnosed as being possessed. Of these thousands of people, only 100 were ever diagnosed to be possessed. And of that 100, this was the most compelling case.
So 10% of the people that he comes to were quote-unquote possessed, and 10% of that 10% is the worst case he's ever seen.
Yeah, that bitch was nuts.
Damn.
So, to jump into this case, when meeting this woman, she talked with pride about being a high priestess in a satanic cult. She was proud. She loved being this, right?
There's nothing wrong with that. Be proud of where you're at.
Yeah. She looked the part too, you know. She was gothic. She dressed in all black with the black eyeliner and the eyeshadow. She asked Gallagher, "How did you like those cats?" Which was a really strange question, but put into context, it really solidified the fact that there was other powers at play. Because the night before, Gallagher had multiple cats, loved cats, and that night before he met her, his cats went crazy. Like, never like they were before or since. They were screeching throughout his house, running. Like, I don't know if you heard a cat screech, but it's irritating.
It's not.
Right?
Cats are.
And they did it throughout the night?
Yeah. But, I mean, what I wouldn't give to see that guy's face. Like, he's like, "Hi, I'm so-and-so." And she's like, "How are those cats?" Like, oh
He's
my
just like, oh,
God.
damn.
You are the real fucking deal.
Another unexplained occurrence that Gallagher found compelling is he was speaking to Julia's priest about the conversations they were having back and forth. And out of nowhere, a demonic, distorted voice that sounded like a deviation of Julia came on the phone screaming at the priest. I mean, this is like horror movie-esque. I mean, this sounds like a Hollywood film. I mean, this stuff's crazy.
Yeah. So it sounds like her, but it's like a distorted, demonic version of her.
Exactly. Right. So one might ask why she was looking to get help when she was so proud of being a high priestess in a satanic cult. I mean, that's one of my questions, right?
Yeah, but that's a good question, though, because, like, I just imagine her walking up like, "I'm this high priestess. Help me." Like, it doesn't make sense.
So Gallagher wondered why Julia wanted help. And the way she described it is there was a war being fought in herself for her very soul. She knew that she was dying from cancer, and she didn't want to die and go to hell, which, you know, makes sense.
Wait, literal cancer, or is this like a metaphorical demon cancer type thing?
Nah, dude, she was going to die, and she was repenting before it happened.
Oh.
She knew she had to get these demons out of her.
Yeah. So she's this demon priestess, finds out she has cancer, which I'm assuming is terminal.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, I need to be good now before I die."
Exactly. That's the old,
That's a cop.
I repent before you die. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to heaven.
I got it. Fixed all that shit.
Fixed it.
Done.
So it took over 8 exorcisms. And although Julia wasn't cured of her demons, she dropped off the face of the earth after the 8th exorcism. Gallagher never saw her again. He assumed she succumbed to her cancer.
Wow. That's a hell of a way to end a story.
Rip, Julia. Rip. Now, I actually like this one. This is actually one of my favorite ones. So let's go to the Arnie Cheyenne Johnson case. So here's a cool statistic. In 1981, Brookfield, Connecticut was celebrating its 193rd year without a homicide. Pretty cool, right?
Wow, 193?
Yeah, I mean, what could go wrong?
I'm guessing a homicide.
Well, sadly, Britain is correct. During the evening of February 16th, Arnie Cheyenne Johnson walked up to his landlord, Alan Bono, and stabbed him multiple times with his knife.
Oh, thanks a lot, bro. We were almost 194 years without a homicide.
I know, right? And then he had to do the knife stabbing dance. Bono would succumb to his injuries hours later in the hospital. And later, Mr. Johnson was picked up by police 2 miles away from the murder scene.
Was he just walking home covered in Bono's blood?
Yeah, you know, I mean, if you stab people, it gets messy.
I wouldn't know.
8 months later, during trial, he submitted a plea of not guilty by virtue of possession.
Oh.
So it's like, hey, dude, I stabbed him, but it wasn't me.
Dude, it wasn't me.
You know?
I was talking with my good old Ouija board, and it fucking told me to stab Bono.
You know, a lot of people say that the saying, "the devil made me do it," came from this case.
Oh.
It's not my fault. The devil made me do it.
Of course. It's typical. It's like plea of insanity. Come on.
So let's jump into this case. How did he plead this? What was his story? Well, supposedly it started on July 3rd of 1980, when a boy named David Glatzel, at the time, was just 11 years old. He woke up screaming one night about a man with black eyes, a thin face with animal features, jagged teeth, pointed ears, horns and hooves. The typical demon.
Yeah.
This entity called himself the Beast Man.
The Beast Man.
And he warned David to beware.
That's not ominous.
I feel like if I was a demon, I would like fuck with people, you know? I'd be like, don't eat Cheez-Wits. No, don't eat Cheez-Its.
Dude, that sucks. Cheez-Its are amazing.
Could you imagine, though, if you had that vision? You're like, I love Cheez-Its and beer, but I feel like if I eat Cheez-Its, I'm going to die.
The next time you're at, the store and you come across Cheez-Its, you're like, oh, God, remember that time? But, what would you do if your son, you walked in your son's room and he's like, I saw this demon, it said beware.
Don't eat Cheez-Wits. Can't say.
I'd be like, all right, well, we got some Cheez-Its in the pantry. They're going right in the fucking trash.
I would be like, hey, don't eat them. They're mine.
Yeah,
he's probably right.
I can.
He's probably right.
Not to eat them. You'll get fat.
He had an older sister named Debbie, and she noticed David's whole demeanor after this incident changed. Once a happy, carefree kid turned into a nervous wreck.
Well, the devil will do that, Taints kids from... That sounds awful.
Taint is a gross word.
Just makes happy kids not so happy. Thanks a lot, demons.
He makes happy kids tainted. Debbie became scared. She asked her fiancé, shocker, Arnie, to stay with him for a while, as she was scared. Things, however, didn't go as planned. David had more nightmares of the Beast Man, who promised to take the boy's soul. Scratches and bruises began to appear on David, the injuries seeming to happen while he was asleep. Odd noises came from the attic, but Arnie couldn't find any reasonable answer for what was causing them. He'd go up there, nothing there. Nothing making the noises.
Of course not. I mean, it doesn't work that way. There's always some unexplainable shit going on.
Yeah, well, things just kept getting darker as David is now seeing the Beastman while he's awake. He was appearing as an old man with a white beard.
Santa Claus.
Well, close. I mean, he was dressed in a flannel shirt and jeans.
Santa Claus lumberjack.
Yeah. All right.
You got your present right here. Let me chop down this fucking tree.
Chopping wood and scaring kids. So the family, being scared, consults a priest that comes over and blesses the house. So, problem solved. The end.
Bullshit.
Which, according to their testimony, pisses it off.
Yeah. Now we got a pissed off Santa Claus.
David's dreams and daytime visions increase. He began to hiss at his family and speak in multiple, different voices.
If my son ever hissed at me, I'd smack him.
Oh.
That's it. Oh.
He started quoting random passages from the book Paradise Lost. Never heard of it, but Arnie said that, this isn't a book that a kid would read. I don't know. If you guys know what that book is, put it in the comments. I don't know. The kid began to have severe seizures every 30 minutes when sleeping.
Oh.
They ended up contacting the famous paranormal couple, Ed and Lorraine Warren, which I know you don't know who they are, which is okay.
Dude, I love Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Upon arrival, Ed started interviewing the boy. Like, hey, what's up? What's going on? During this time, Lorraine saw something strange. She described it as a black, misty form next to the boy, which told her that we were dealing with something of a negative nature. During that moment, the child started complaining that invisible hands were choking him. Red marks started appearing on his neck, and he kept stating something was hitting him. Ed and Lorraine concluded the boy was being possessed. They brought in 4 other priests and performed 3 exorcisms, which they claim threw out 43 demons from his body.
Oh my god, dude, that is an orgy of demons.
No, you did that last time.
I know.
Not 1, not 2, an orgy.
43, which is funny. I'm glad you.
What the fuck were they fucking doing in there?
I'm glad I said that because going back, I know I hate to interrupt you here, but we had a friend once that when they're talking about Ouija
had an orgy
boards. No, God,
okay,
no. I hope
sorry.
not.
I apologize.
When they were talking about Ouija boards, they called it an orgy board, which is just kind of funny because that just changes the whole meaning of the thing. I just imagine like Twister with like no clothes. Anyway, it's an orgy of demons. So continue.
Well, we just lost our monetization on YouTube, but the question is, well, how does this affect Arnie stabbing somebody, right?
That was my next question.
Well, during these exorcisms, Arnie got upset because he saw a boy being taken advantage by an orgy of demons.
I mean, as a father, I'd be upset. I'm not going to lie.
And he decides to taunt these demons, saying they're picking on the boy and they're too frightened to mess with a real man.
I think I think he's like, I want an orgy of demons in me.
This is getting really hard, dude. It's getting really hard.
That's what she said.
The Warrens, being afraid of this provocateur, tell the local police to keep an eye on Arnie, as they're afraid he might get possessed too. But things seem to get better as David is seeing a psychiatrist after this, and all the episodes stop. Arnie and Debbie move in together in an apartment owned by Alan Bono.
Uh-oh.
This is where...
get stabbed.
Yep. This is where Arnie starts going through trances that last for an hour, where you would growl and claim to see the Beast Man.
Oh, God.
Then came the ominous day of February 16th, 1981. Arnie was out drinking with the boys, which included his landlord, Alan.
And the 43 demons.
Maybe. The 43 demon orgy. And they drank a serious amount of booze. Once, returning to Arnie's place, he and Alan got in a fight where Arnie starts growling and hissing, almost seeming possessed again. Then, out of nowhere, pulls a knife out of a drawer and just starts stabbing the bejesus out of Alan. Shockingly, the defense did not work, and the jury found Arnie guilty of first-degree manslaughter, giving him 10 to 20 years. But, Britton, there's a happy ending to this.
Oh, good. I was hoping there would be.
He only served 5 years and then, married Debbie, and they lived happily ever after. The end.
That's it. 5 years.
Yep.
For stabbing his landlord to death.
It kind of seems like a bargain for, stabbing someone to death, but, 5 years and he did his penance.
Okay. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, that's all I got.
So, I'm assuming your 3 stories are up then. Those were pretty intense.
Yeah. Pretty cool. There's a lot of more demonic stories, and we might go back to this topic again, but definitely scary stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think demons scare a lot of people more than anything because there's ghosts. Whether or not you believe in ghosts, there's like the good ghosts that are just trying to find out where to go when they die, and there's like the ones floating around in the middle of nowhere. But then you have like the malicious demons, and then there's the good old doorway called the Ouija board that invites them in. But I think, Cleet, what we need to do is get one of those really legit original Ouija boards and do an episode where we just taunt the hell out of ghosts.
Right. And I'm saying, demons, we are ready to be possessed. We are perfectly willing vessels.
I mean, possess Cleet first by all means. I mean, you can come after me next, but, whatever.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed our stories tonight.
Yeah, hope you definitely enjoyed the stories. Next week, we are coming back next week. We're jumping back into a Reddit thread.
Canceled.
Some pretty... We're not... See, last time you said that, it fucked up.
It's going to happen again.
Don't say it again.
As always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Hopefully until next week.